What is up? I'm on my live tour, doing lives every day. Let's go. Let's go. Waiting for people to get in. Hey guys, what's up? Say something in the chat if you can hear me, you can see me. Hey, what's up, Casey? Can you hear me, by the way? This is just me testing out. I'm just now starting to get in. What's up? What's up? What's up, Christian? I'm just now starting. Like, if you ever wanted to do lives, I mean, the best way to do lives is just start testing stuff out. Cool. I appreciate that. What's weird is, like, I'm thinking this is my first time doing lives, and the camera on this Mac is like, it's so grainy, but I'm like, screw it. Thing is about doing YouTube videos. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up, Stephen? The thing about doing YouTube videos, for me, I don't have any video knowledge or anything like that. I don't have time to do any videos and stuff like that. So, yeah. So, like video, like experience. I don't have any like patience doing setting up video cameras and pretty backgrounds and lights and stuff like that. I try watching videos and people doing that. I'm like, screw that. Hey, Chandler. What's up, guys? Appreciate you guys coming in. Appreciate you guys coming in. So I'm just testing out live and seeing how things work. And just take some Q&A for the next 30 minutes. So I got a question. How do B2C, what's up? What's up? Esty from LA. How do B2C companies filter out people after interviews? B2C, business to consumer companies filter out people after interviews. That's a good question. I don't know how they filter out people after interviews. Interview process, as far as I know, they try to get candidates in there, and they have 2 to 3 good candidates. Let's say 2 to 3, and the teams is trying to decide. You know, if you have 2 candidates that are really good, it's a really hard decision for companies to make. I never personally hired someone, but I've always interviewed people, and we've always talked about who we like and who we would want to work with and stuff like that. So, so that's how companies sort of decide who to hire. It's like if you interview for a company that I work for, I would sit with you like this, and we would talk. Hey, how's it going? You know, what was your experience like? You know, working at that last place? Just casually tell me about it. You know, so as you're talking through stuff, I talk casually with folks, and we start vibing. And if we have a good chemistry, then I'm like, sweet. You know, I could actually vibe with that person. You know, and obviously, if they're good and stuff like that, I can vibe with this person. A lot of times I might interview a developer, right? A lot of the companies that I've been with, I don't really interview that many designers. I interview a lot of developers and stuff like that. And I can vibe with that person. You know, that person seems cool, and so forth. Design wise, you know, it's the same thing. But what I want to talk about really quick, wait, I said, how do you teach yourself UX design? Good question. Aisha. So I'm leaving boot camp, and I want to be able to curate my own curriculum. How do you know you're job ready? Great question. I think you're job ready when you've done several different personal projects. And let's just say you designed an app, hypothetically. And one thing I want to do is I probably won't do it this Thursday, but Thursday I have a meetup that everybody's invited to. But basically, if you design your own personal projects and you've gone through now your 4th project and you're designing screens and stuff like that, and you're kind of getting into understanding like how to design, you're designing different screens because you're designing for certain requirements and things like that. Once you know how to do visual design, you're ready. Guaranteed, you're ready. Because if you know how to design, you're a good visual designer. A lot of times when you come into a situation at a company, you're going to automatically be put in a situation where a product owner is going to sit with you and talk with you about something that they want you to design. So a product owner might sit with you and say, hey, can work with me on, or you might be tasked with working with a product owner on a particular feature. Let's say like an update to, let's say, a little widget within the app. And so basically, that's it. Your job ready already. I mean, you know how to design. Your job ready. You're just basically communicating with that product owner, and you go back to your desk and you start giving them mock-ups, and that's when the communication kicks in. And it just takes over, like you showing them examples. Hey, can I get you these examples tomorrow? I'm going to work on these today and tomorrow, and then we'll meet at a certain time. And so you're basically job ready when you know how to design, when you have a clear understanding on how to design. And so I think the easiest way to teach yourself design is the 4 things. I just posted a video right before I went on live. I posted a video, so watch that video after this. And it's 4 things: visual design, problem solving, a habit of critical thinking, and communication. But the number 1 is visual design. The way I teach visual design is you need to copy and steal components from other designers. So an example, an easy way to look at this is if you are designing a calendar feature, you go and search for calendar features, UI components, and you'll see tons of different websites that have these examples, and you're basically mimicking those designs. If you know how, when I always talk about copying, if you know how to copy visual designs pretty easy, you can just do a search for login page and see 100 different examples of login pages, and you just copy one of them. Obviously, the aesthetics will be in a different style, possibly in this new company that you're working with, and that's it. And you just go there. You're already job ready if you know how to design. So the important thing is visual design. The other stuff is just soft skills, and I can talk about that a little more. But to teach yourself UX design is really just UX design. Like I said, I'm on this kick. UX design is common sense. So there's really nothing else to teach. What is UX design? Let's think about this. And I'm gonna push this home like even further. Think about this. What is as product designers? What is the main goal of our job? Is to design, build, and evolve like really good products, right? That's it. That's the goal. So what does that mean? To design, build, and evolve really good, amazing products is making sure that customers are happy with this product, making sure that they can use it. That's your job. And your task in that company as a resource, you're not coding, you're not marketing, you're designing. So on the job, you have to design. And then you're figuring out, hey, am I hitting these requirements? Can the users, you're identifying, can the users use this product? And that's it. That's your goal. What is UX? UX means it's this big fancy thing that people like to talk about. But what is UX other than discovering or creating a good experience for a user? Like, let's really think about it. Is UX really sitting in a room designing a poster of user personas? Is that UX? No, I already know who the user is. The user are 65-year-old women who has a medium income of this, and they use Facebook and they use apps like that. And I know. I don't need to sit in a room and design posters. I don't need to sit in a room and learn about a customer journey. I don't need to sit in a room and learn about empathy. I already have empathy. I want the user to be able to use this app? You know, these are all common sense things that I don't think there is no, what is UX? There is no UX, like in my opinion. That's just me. Again, this is what I'm going to be preaching to people. The things that I say, don't say these things in an interview. Trust me. Don't say the, what I mean by this, when I'm so harsh against UX, don't say these things in an interview. You have to play the game. Okay. I think I titled this slide, Playing the Game to Land the Job. So remember the things I'm saying. Don't necessarily, the things that are so harsh, that are combative against the industry, don't ever say these things in an interview. Don't say these things on your resume. Like, you know, like, don't say those things. Play the game. If they want you to have wireframes on your portfolio, put wireframes on your portfolio. If they want you to put fancy user personas on your portfolio, just so you can tell them that you know what user personas are, put those fancy user persona things on your portfolio. If they need you to have more, if you went to an interview and they said, you know what, you need more UX stuff on your portfolio, guess what? That's good feedback. You need more UX stuff on your portfolio. Again, I always say this, play the game. Landing a job is a game. Use your office voice, be nice, friendly. Once you get in, trust me, you're going to be like me. You're going to sit in an interview or sit in a meeting. Once you have the job, after you're in about a year and you guys are talking about something, you're like, why the heck are we wasting time on this stuff? You know, it's all common sense. But anyway, are you down with neomorphism or whatever that is? That's the texture designs. I don't know. I don't think that's cool. Let me see. Looking at some of these questions, company just asked about experience working on building out design systems. Sounds like a $50 per hour week kind of role. 60 hour per week kind of role. Design systems is basically you're being able to design and manage a UI kit. So if you want to, you're just basically building out elements as you go. You're designing screens and you're making sure buttons are in place. To be honest with you, it's cool, but it's something that anybody can learn, and it's something that's easy, but I don't know. I think too high level to be getting down deep into building out design systems. But building out design systems are cool. You manage it. You can manage it in Figma. You can manage it in Sketch. And there's different ways in going about managing design systems and using libraries and stuff like that. And this is stuff that you can learn on YouTube and stuff like that and get better at it. You know, start with one component and then building it out. Understand your users' design and needs, accessibility. What are your thoughts on Figma? I love Figma. I think my next course will be taught on Figma because Figma is great for PC and Mac. And I think a lot of companies are moving and utilizing Figma these days. So it'd be great to know both Sketch and Figma, in my opinion. Apart from networking, do you think just sending out mass applications, numbers game is best approach? Yes, definitely. It's a numbers game. I'll tell you why it's a numbers game, because when you're sending out resumes, basically, look, let's say you send out 10 resumes. It's luck that you find somebody with the right at the right moment, right time, that looks at your resume, that feels that you are a great fit. And then even when you get that interview, it's a numbers game. You know, obviously people don't like to go through several different interviews, but it's a numbers game, right? You send it out, your resume might come in, your application might come into somebody, and they're like, I'm not even focused on that right now. I have fires I got to put out. And so it's just a numbers game. Keep pushing it out, keep hitting recruiters, keep hitting people. What's the best thing? The best thing is to have 5 companies hitting you up at the same time, all asking you to interview, and you go, oh, okay. and then you can compete with them. That's awesome, right? So definitely a numbers game. Always play. It's always a marketing thing. It's always a marketing thing. If we had 20 designers separately solve a problem, there would be 20 different approaches. Exactly. Some of these solutions would outperform others. The best UX is performance-based. True. And then, so here's what Levi says. Mike, if we had 20 designers separately solve a design problem, there would be 20 different approaches and solutions. True. And some of the solutions would outperform others. True. Now, here's the common sense part. That is absolutely true. Let's say one of my solutions worked, but another solution outperformed my solution, like it converted better or did something. It just had better user experience. I, as a designer, would now learn and go, I would use common sense. So during my next solution, as I'm building things out, I might implement some of the things that I've learned from this particular case. So it is performance-based, but you never know. So for example, if I work for a company, I work for ADP. Let's say at ADP, I worked as the only designer at one point. For 3 years, I worked on the only designer for this big portion of their app. And so I was designing solutions and things like that. But there was no other thing to test it against, right? So my solution worked for these users, and the company liked the way my solutions worked for these users. So there was no right or wrong, in a sense. My solution worked, your solution could work, but you're working for another company and so forth, right? Yeah, that's just common sense. There's many different solutions. There's many ways to solve a problem. There's many ways to do things. And so that's why there's no right and wrong when it comes to, you have to know this about UX. Listen, you just have to know common sense. You're trying to solve the user's pain points, and you're putting forth your best guess. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. Anthony said, finally made it. I appreciate that. So funny thing is, somebody hit me up, a friend of mine hit me up on my text and said, hey, Mike, didn't you say you were going to do a live every Tuesday from 6 to 7? And I was like, oh man, I forgot. I was posting my YouTube video while I got the text. So what I'm going to try to do is, lately over the last 3 or 4 days, I've been testing out lives on different platforms, on Instagram, on Twitter for a little bit, on YouTube. I'm definitely going to get consistent in terms of a schedule, so people know, and I'm going to warn people. I think in YouTube, you can actually post and say, hey, I'm going to schedule this at 6 p.m. on this day. So at least you'll know. And then when I get on here, you know, it's kind of more organized. Right now, it's just kind of like fly by night. But I appreciate folks hitting me up, just, you know, randomly, and coming in, jumping in and saying hi and asking questions, stuff like that. This was really cool. How should I market myself? I'm a junior designer with only spec work on my portfolio. Great question. Here's a nugget for all of you out there. You're just learning or you're new. Don't call yourself junior. Tip number 1, don't call yourself junior. Just say UX designer. I believe there should be only 2 levels. You're a UX designer, which means you're not senior, which means in my mind, you don't have 5 years worth of experience. So if you're a UX designer, to be honest with you, you don't have to apologize for that. You don't have to say, hey, I'm a junior. It's making yourself seem at a lower level than you really need to. Hey, you started learning UX design last week or a month ago. Fine, let them learn that. Let them discover that at some point. But if you call yourself a UX designer, I'm a photographer. And here's my portfolio, right? You don't have to say I'm a junior photographer, right? So don't call yourself junior. We do that a lot. I think that's just natural for us as designers to do that. Say, hey, I'm a junior, because you don't want to try to sell yourself as this top-notch designer, which when you're just now starting to learn. But it's okay. Just say I'm a UX designer. You know, you're a UX designer, plain and simple. That's my tidbit for that. So And to how to market yourself is you market yourself the best you can with your personal projects. Personal projects, personal projects, personal projects. I was thinking about this today. I was saying one thing that I'm gonna say to people next time I get on live or something like that is everybody has the ability to try to be the indispensable, the best designer they can be, which means we all have potential to fulfill. A lot of times we're lazy. We do one project and that's it. We all have the ability to work night and day to bust our butt, to teach ourselves how to improve our visual design skills and continue to design projects. It's easier said than done, but what I'm saying is that everybody has potential to be better. There is no standard. I think when we, as designers, we're human, so we all get kind of naturally lazy. And so what happens is that's when people start saying, hey, isn't UX designer, it's a commodity now. It's because we kind of settle. We kind of get relaxed. I did 4 projects on my website. I worked on it for a little bit and that's it. But don't you have the ability to continue to work harder, continue to be pushed, continue to get out more stuff? Of course, we all do, right? And hypothetically, this never will happen. Like 100% of us will be top notch, will have reached our full potential. If that's the case, companies will be, if everybody's freaking an expert, then people will be landing jobs left and right, but that's not the case because everybody's settling. Everybody's getting easy. Hey, I'm stopping at this, stopping at that. But guess what? Everybody has the ability to grind. And it's all subjective. It's It's just trying to be the best designer you can be. Continue to improve your visual design. Continue to put out personal projects. Until recruiters are like, I got to bring that person in. I got to talk to that person, and your stuff just wows people. Just keep grinding. Corey said, greetings from Jamaica. Shout out to Jamaica. What's up? I appreciate you guys coming in and checking in. What certifications look good to employers? I don't think any certification, don't strive for the certification. Look at what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is look at the root. Don't go for the paper. Look at the root of what your job is there to do. You need to be able to, four key things. Good visual design, okay? So when you get into the meeting or get into an interview, that's not even discussion. They know you have good visual design skills because they've seen your portfolio and they love your visual design style. The next 3 is important. Problem solving. You need to pitch them on what you're there to do. Problem solve. Understand users. What project am I working on? I need to discover what the root of the problem of what I'm trying to solve for. What are the users' pain points? What are their pain points? What are their pain points? What exactly are they trying to do? Right? Root problem is deeper deeper than just the surface problem. The surface problem is this customer, and I didn't explain this well in my last video. A customer is having problems uploading documents to the website, right? That's the surface problem. The root problem is they're uploading this to the website in order to do this. Maybe there's another solution to solve for their root problem rather than having them upload documents in the first place. That's what getting to the root problem is. Understanding that, critically thinking, and then telling the interviewer is, hey, I have an ability to connect with, communicating or building relationships is huge for me. Communicating with my product owners, communicating with stakeholders, communicating with my developers. This to me is an essential skill for the job to collectively come together to deliver great products. If that's what you need to be pitching to recruiters, pitching to hiring managers, not working towards a certificate, All right. We are beyond that. All right. Let your portfolio, let your body of work act as your certificate. Any certificate will look good, but it's irrelevant if you don't really dig into the root of what you're there to do, which is to grind and help collectively as a team, be a great asset to this company, and deliver and build good products, and work together with your developers, build great relationships, and just constantly kick out new features, hit releases on time, learn about the user's pain points, and just grind, and continue to flourish in that company, in that product, and continue to make customers happy. Those are the type of things that you should be kind of getting in your mind. Let me see some other questions. Let me see. They say interaction design has certificates. Let me see. How does coding you need to become? You don't need any coding. Shan asks, do you need coding to be a UI UX designer? You don't need any coding. Do employers expect interns, entry levels to know? Nope. HTML, CSS, JavaScript is, so you got product design, you got front-end development, and you got back-end development. Front-end development is where HTML, CSS, and JavaScript comes into play. So if you are interested in product UI, UX design, you don't need to know how to do these two. All of these three are valuable, essential disciplines to an organization. UX design, product design, front-end development, and back-end development. And so, no, stay here. If you want to learn, just know what I'm talking about. You got to focus more on problem solving and visual design, designing good products, designing interactions and screens and stuff like that. That's a lot of people admire my UX design skills. How would you suggest I monetize this demand? So Corey, family coming in tomorrow. So Corey said, a lot of people admire my UI UX design skills. How would you suggest I monetize? I would suggest you get on YouTube and start sharing it. Learn your voice, slowly but surely help people, and just talk about some of the things you know. People will admire that, and they'll ask for certain things, and from there you can start building out your brand. Eventually you can monetize it, and you can build a course, training products, training things, stuff like that. That's how I would monetize it. And then you can do this on the side, as I've done. You can work for a company and do it on the side as well. Great opportunities online. And I'm just now discovering lives, and I've been doing this for like 10 years. And so I feel like I'm just now getting started. So I'm looking at doing some UX design work, volunteering, nonprofits. Does this sound like a good way? Yes. Development skills. So Alvin said, doing stuff for free is always good. Doing stuff for free, anything for free. It's like your personal projects are great, and doing stuff for free, obviously, it's a little bit more challenging because you're servicing someone. You're not going to be always designing the things that you want. That's why personal projects are great. You actually design whatever it is you want. But when you're doing something for free, now you have to like get feedback. You're exchanging stuff. You're designing things. They're going to be asking for. You're the client. Now they're asking for things that you didn't want to design, and so you're not even getting paid for it. You're like, why did I do this? So that's the only downfall for doing that. But if you're doing it for the experience, you should do that, because when you work for a company, the product owner and the stakeholders will be asking for stuff that you don't want to design, and you're like, screw it, I'm getting paid for it, so I'll just do it. And that's that's how I look at things. Mike, I've done a few courses in Coursera to get a good foundation, and at the end of the day, would you say it's about creating a portfolio and applying? Exactly. So Charles asked about doing 100. Great. I'm glad I read this question. So for all of you out there, you're taking courses, you're taking my course or other courses, or you're learning some tutorials and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it's about building projects, designing projects on your own, concepting them up, and building a portfolio and applying to jobs and selling yourself that way. That's what it all comes down to. These courses are there to teach you the foundation, and then it's about you taking that skill and building portfolios. The way I like to say it is, if you had nothing, hypothetically, now you know how to design. Let's say you took a course, you know how to design. You took 6 months worth of courses. You now know how to design. Your next step, in my opinion, would be to constantly do personal projects after personal projects, trying to get better and better and better until you land a job. While you're working on these projects, you're applying to jobs, right? So after you have your first one, you're applying to jobs and you're constantly doing more portfolio work and stuff like that until you land a job. Hypothetically, crazy scenario, you got to like 50 amazing projects on your portfolio. You haven't landed a job yet. That actually, to me, looks that, and these are amazing stuff, and you're always improving your visual design. Guaranteed, your portfolio is going to get ranked somewhere. Someone is going to go viral. It's going to go somewhere, and someone's going to go like, "Damn, that person has 50 projects on their website. I mean, on their portfolio. Are you looking for work? I mean, are you kidding me? Like, it's only perfect sense. What up, Juan? I'm glad you can make it, man. Juan's old school. We've been going back since fireworks days. I appreciate Juan. Juan's also in IT too. Mike, hello from Miami. Tomorrow I have my second interview. All right, so Ozzy said, Mike, I have my second round interview with a big company. I've been watching your videos. I started my UX design journey back in. Awesome. Congrats and good luck. Good luck. Second round interviews, that means you're golden. You just don't screw it up. A good friend of mine once said that I was telling a friend that that I was talking to somebody about interviewing, and we got into the conversations about this person interviewing and actually going into other rounds of their interview. I said, what advice would you give? I actually just casually asked my friend, what advice would you give someone? He said, don't screw up. Basically, don't screw up. You have it in the bag. Just be yourself. Or I don't know if the first round that you touched on, is it just a casual recruiters, chat to get you in, and now the second round is your first round per se. But if it's a legit second round, like you've already went through an hour interview with somebody and it's a second round interview, you're golden. Be yourself. You're going to meet with different people and you should be good. What's the difference between UX design and interaction design? There's no difference. It's the same thing. It's just design is design. You're designing screens. Now there's interactions and stuff like that. And UX design, different. We can get into, there's no difference. It's all the same stuff. And UX is just, like I said, UX is user experience. So what is user experience design? Is really making sure that you're designing good experiences for the user. You're solving all their problems, right? That's UX. And that's what I call just common sense, just understanding, am I hitting the mark? Am I getting to the root problem? Am I actually designing what to solve the user's needs? That's UX. Interaction design is when you're inside of an app designing different, there's different things happening within an application that allows a user to accomplish a task, and that's interaction. So you got modals popping up. You have the issue of someone, drop down menus. You have progressive disclosure. Basically, you're hiding things behind hamburger menus. You're figuring out, so the act of interacting with an app, in my opinion, is interaction design, right? That's what I consider interaction design. So you could be a good focus on interaction design and not really focus on getting to the root of the problem. So there's two different moments, but they're all the same thing. It's what a designer does. A lot of questions today. It's great. I got on early, so I'm going to try to do this a lot more early so I can, so more people can get on the East Coast. I know it's 9:30. What is it? 9, or now it's 10:15 out there on the East Coast. So I'm out here on the West Coast. Let me go down to some of these questions. If I had an interest in coding, should I start learning front-end development to better my chance of getting a job as a UX designer? No. So Asia said, if you have an interest in coding and you're thinking coding will better your chances of getting a job at UX, I think they're totally different. So I had an interest in coding back in the day, and I had an interest in design. I had to choose my path because they're different disciplines. And in corporations, they generally don't have you doing both. They don't have you doing design and coding. That only happens when you're in a startup at the very small ground level, 3 people, 1 person, 2 people, stuff like that. When you get a job at corporations, they want you to work on UX. Your focus is UX. You're going to be working with the developers, but you're not doing both. Mike, what's your opinion on junior UX designer first job, early stage? Hold on one second. Let me see. One great piece of advice you have recently was work on a SaaS project rather than the WordPress style site. They're better showcasing problems. Exactly. Christian said a great piece of advice you gave recently was, yeah, so working on SaaS products actually show more detail and you're more understanding of solving problems than just working on a WordPress website, for sure. I'm the designer at a very corporate company where the bosses and users care little about UI. Yep, that's common. That's very common. Yes. So someone said, I work at a company where I work at a very corporate company where the bosses and users care little about UI UX. That's very common. Very, 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 very common. And have minimal design ownership. Should I look somewhere to grow? That's going to be common in all of our in all of our careers. And the reason why that's very common is because business owners, they care about profits and solving customer problems. Until you get big, like for example, I'll give you an example of why this is a common problem. I love this question because this breaks it down to common sense. For example, my wife, she's a real estate agent. Okay. She became successful at a real estate agent without doing any online marketing. Okay. But you might have a person who made their career on improving people's business on digital marketing. You walk up to my wife goes, I had no time for it. I'm focused on this. But that person goes, hey, listen, I know as a person that is expert on digital marketing, I'm sorry, my dog is barking in the background. As a person that's an expert on digital marketing, damn, hold on one second. So somebody would say, hey, I know my skills in digital marketing can get you X amount more in your business. Sometimes that business owner is just not worried about that. Even though design would help, they're focused on other stuff. This is very, 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 very common. It was even common at ADP. ADP is a well-oiled machine. Their products, they were making billions upon billions of dollars without touching their UX. Without anything. People had to come in to teach them about UX, and they had to like slowly change their culture and become a nice UX shop. But it's like, hey, we're making billions. A lot of people are stubborn. We're making billions. Why do we have to change things? Why are we caring about UX and learning and this and that? So, long story short, I digress. But it's an issue. So the question is, if you want to do more, you want to work in a culture where they care more about design, yeah, keep your job while you're blasting out. That's why you should be working on your portfolio. personal projects, stuff like that, improving your portfolio, applying, you get a new job that works in that cares more about design, and you'll be happier for it. But then you get to another job and you realize that you might run into the same issue. Yeah, it's quite common. Companies don't do what we see out in the world of the internet and stuff like that. So on the internet, everybody's, oh, you're going to be doing sticky notes on the whiteboard. You're going to be building user personas. You're going to be doing user testing. You're going to be doing all this stuff. Please, you get into a job, they're like, hey, can you get this stuff tomorrow to my developer? Because we need to get this out. That's how it is sometimes. What should I do to get looks to land a job? Portfolio. Tony said portfolio. Tony said, hey, Mike, I'm about to graduate college, but I feel like college didn't really equip me with the tools that would help me land a job. Fair enough. Do you have any suggestions on directions of UX? Yeah, so basically you have to take it upon yourself to build your portfolio. Your portfolio is your golden ticket. It was one of my, when I very first, I built the podcast like years ago, and I had a title, your portfolio is your golden ticket. You guys remember that movie Willy Wonka and the golden ticket that was in the chocolate bars? The golden ticket got them into the chocolate factory. Your portfolio is the golden ticket, okay? And everybody has the potential to grind on their portfolio. Your portfolio is your golden ticket to have recruiters stop what they're doing, look at you, want to call you in, get hiring managers to stop, find you, to email you, and vice versa, right? Your portfolio is your golden ticket. Your portfolio is your golden ticket. In this industry, getting a sales job is different. You don't need a portfolio for a sales job, but in this industry, as a UX designer, your portfolio is the ticket to get you in. Advice for undergraduate students studying psychology who wants to do UX shit. Okay, wait. Should I be building a portfolio now and paying for courses? Yep. So Donna says she's an undergraduate student studying psychology, basically human-computer interaction. Like, that's great. So after you finish, when you get that degree, that will look good on your resume. And she wants to do UX design. Should you be building your portfolio now? Yes. Paying for courses on the side? Yep. They're cheap. They're small. $50, $40, $100, etc. Yep. You should be doing courses. Get into a solid foundation of like just essentials, and then just build. Take your knowledge and build personal projects. Start with one and do one nice project. By the time you graduate, you should have a nice little portfolio with the knowledge that you learned in school and that degree. And that knowledge should really propel you forward. And then you start hustling and grinding and marketing yourself to corporations. But building, if you're in school right now, yes, building your portfolio would be great. Would be highly recommended, in my opinion. Let me see, one more before let me see how do I get ideas of personal projects. So last question I'm going to answer. How do you get ideas for personal projects? How do you get ideas for personal projects? How deep should we go with this? You focus on many projects, few good projects. Good question. So, so the question is, how do you come up with ideas on personal projects? This is a great one. What I would do is first think about sites that you visited and things that you have. First off, I would start off by just thinking, like, start looking for ideas for personal projects. So you're thinking about issues that you have in the real world. Okay, if you had trouble purchasing something on Amazon due to a bad experience, that's a good idea. An example of mine was, I showed this in my membership. I was actually purchasing, I was going on vacation. I was purchasing like chairs on this I was purchasing, what is it? A cabana at this Westin hotel in Hawaii. And I would do this every year. and their site is very crappy. And every time I'm trying to reserve a cabana, it was a crappy experience. And I remember building out a personal project on my portfolio right now. I build a personal project around that experience, showing, you know, Maui, showing these cabanas, and showing what I would do differently with using Google Maps to kind of zoom in on these different cabanas and stuff like that. And I actually took it upon myself to design a personal project. And it was all built around a poor experience. Another one was, this is before, you know, food ordering became very popular, but I was always needing to order stuff at Baja Fresh. And so I built a personal project around ordering food at Baja Fresh. And so I used that example, personal projects, for my most recent course, which I did back in 2017, 2018, which is now a little bit dated, but the principles are still timeless. And but basically, coming up with ideas for personal projects is basically looking at stuff that you enjoy, looking at stuff that you might want to improve, and then going from there. So if you have old websites also, I think one good start to do is look at your old stuff. If you've done stuff a few years back, maybe you want to redesign them. That's a good option too. Redesign your stuff. I have a bunch of old websites that I've done from the last over 10 years ago. And I'm like, I could pull one of those and just bring it back into 2020 for the aesthetics and add some new features and stuff to it. So that's also a good option to stuff. But it's not easy thinking of a personal project like, oh, I'm going to do this, but just keep brainstorming, keep thinking like, what problem am I having day to day? What problem am I having throughout the week? What problems did I have last week? What problems am I having today? And then go forth throughout that day, conscious of that. And when you hit a problem, now like, I'm going to work on this project and just work on it. Work on it for like 6 weeks or 2 months, just one project. And don't try to do another. Just work on this project and try to do as good as you can. Go deep. Try to build it out 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages or states, and that should keep you busy for several weeks. And it should have fun with it, and you know, try your best at it, and you just go from there. So someone said, do you need a website for your portfolio? I would say yes. It's always good to have your own personal portfolio linked somewhere, host it somewhere where you can just send that off. Maybe today is different. You can do it Behance or Dribbble, but me, I'm always somebody that has my own portfolio and have that, something that I own, and you know, that's that. But it can be simple. Anyway. So now I appreciate you guys coming in, but I'm about to run off, try to get something to eat. It's 7:28 here on the West Coast. And I just wanted to jump in and say hi, some Q&A, chat a little bit. I appreciate you guys coming in. Grind, hustle, get to work. I just posted a video on my YouTube. Watch that. It's pretty cool. And then also Thursday, I'm going to be having a live meetup via Zoom. We can see our faces, we can ask questions, talk to each other. It's going to be dope. Check it out. I'm going to post a link in the description. And if you have not, sign up for it. If you're available this Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Anyway, appreciate you, Juan. Appreciate you for the support. You guys.